Awesome. All right, so thank you everyone for joining tonight. For our new families that are both here in person and joining virtually, welcome. We're excited to have you guys with us. We are going to start our evening like we do every 4-H meeting, and that is with our pledges. So tonight I have with me some junior leaders. Junior leaders, come on down. You guys are going to help me. And I'm going to have you guys stand behind me so the virtual people can also see too. That's okay. We are going to do our pledges. Every 4-H meeting, we start off our meetings with 2 pledges. We do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we do our 4-H pledge. They are going to be on the screen in case you need to know the words. We'll do our Pledge of Allegiance, and then we will go over the 4-H pledge before we actually do it so that everybody can know the motions as well. Those of you joining online tonight, feel free to join along. You are welcome to stand up. Please don't turn on your mics though, just because sometimes the sound can cause a little bit of issue, but please feel free to join us. Those of you joining here in person, please go ahead and stand up, and we are going to do our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. And up next, we're going to do our 4-H pledge. So our 4-H pledge has 4 parts to it to go along with our 4-H's. We've got our head, heart, hands, and health. So every time that we say one of those H's, we're going to do a different motion, okay? So when we say head, you're going to point to your head, okay? And when we say heart, you're going to hold your hand over your heart. And then when we say hands, you're going to hold your hands out. Great job. And when we say health, we're going to go all the way down our body because our health has a lot of different components, right? So we're going to test you, and those of you online, I'm checking out you guys too. So participate if you'd like. When we say head, where do we point? When we say heart, where do we point? Great job. What about health? Health. Ooh, I tricked you guys. Yeah. And finally, our hands. All right. So now you're ready to do our pledge. You're going to follow along. If you've never done it before, the words are up on the screen. I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. Awesome. Thank you, junior leaders. I appreciate that. Those of you that are joining in person or virtually, I just want to real quick before we get going, go over how this evening is going to work. We are going to do a couple quick things first tonight, and just go over some basic information about what 4-H is, what you can expect, and then all of the 4-Hers that are here in person will be going over right across these drapes to spend some time with our junior leaders who have sample projects that they're going to go over. They're going to talk about their projects involvement within 4-H as well as play and activity. Those of you that are joining virtually, don't worry, you get to stick with me, and we're still going to have a lot of fun and learn a lot about 4-H. So real quick before we get going, I want to know tonight, who are you? So how many of you are 4-Hers? Can you raise your hand if you're a 4-Her? Those of you that are online, you can either type it in the chat box or do a thumbs up too. What about parents, guardians? If you're a parent or a guardian, can you raise your hand? All right. How about any 4-H volunteers that are online or in person? Great job. And yes, junior leaders that are in the back, you count as volunteers as well. Thanks for being here. Oh, we got someone yes to all of them. Awesome. So a little bit about me, so you know who I am and that I'm not just some random person up here talking to you. My name is Katie Sweet. I'm the 4-H Youth Development Extension Educator for Hendricks County. And that is a really long title for I have the best job in the world because I get to work with the best youth in the county. So I am the one that oversees the entire 4-H program in Hendricks County. I get to work with our wonderful volunteers to make things happen in our 4-H program, and I get to work with fantastic youth as well. I got my master's degree in extension education from North Carolina State University. And then prior to that, I received my bachelor's degree in public relations and advertising from Ball State University. So I like to joke that while I do work for Purdue University, and I grew up around the area, I am a Cardinal at heart. So chirp, chirp, go Ball State. And I am a self-proclaimed 4-H nerd. I love my job. I love what I do. I just have a fun time. You can see in this picture here. This was a campaign we ran last January to try and bump up enrollment. But really, how often do you get to wear a superhero outfit to work? Not very many jobs allow that. So that's one of the reasons I love my job. It is different every single day. So I'm excited to have you guys here. I'm excited to have so many people watching. And if you're watching online or the recording of this, we're happy to have you as well joining us. I want to talk just real quick about what 4-H is. So the large overview. I'm not going to read this word for word, but we are the largest non-formal youth serving organization in the country. We are volunteer led. So we have a very small paid staff that works in the extension office here and also helps manage. We have a small paid staff that helps manage our fairgrounds here at the Hendricks County Fairgrounds. But most of our programs, most of our activities that we do, the stuff that you participate in, it is all volunteer led. Our programs are based on hands-on, age-appropriate, researched information. So research-based information. So any of the projects that you guys participate in, there has been research that's been done to make sure those activities are going to meet youth needs at those ages. And I really like to put up there the mission of Indiana 4-H. I like to do this with a lot of other meetings that I participate in and get to talk to kids about, because I think it's really important. Because our mission is to provide real life educational opportunities that develop young people who will have a positive impact in their communities and the world. So that is a really great mission, but that does not say that the only thing 4-H does is the fair. It is not just 1 week of the summer that we focus on 4-H. We are a year-round program, and our mission is to provide that real-life education to our 4-Hers. So some 4-H facts for you. This is our lovely clover that you will see all over the place. You'll see it on newsletters. You'll see it on letters that go out. You will see it all over, plastered all over my office if you're ever in my office. And it's a very special logo. We joke that part of my job is I get to be Clover Police because our logo is, our emblem is very special. It is protected under the same protection as the Olympic rings and the presidential seal. So we are the only youth serving organization that has that same protection of our logo. It can only be certain colors as well: green, white, black, or metallic gold. It is very specific on how we're allowed to use it. So my job is to make sure that we are upholding the emblem and using it appropriately throughout the county. Our motto is to make the best better. Our colors are green and white. And in 4-H, we have a few what we call mission areas, and these are different focus areas. So any project that you pick up or that you do or any activity you attend, it's going to fall into one of these categories. STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math, and agriculture. They kind of tie together. Healthy living, civic engagement, which used to be called citizenship, and leadership. And we also try to tie in career and college preparation a lot of times too, because we want to give kids the opportunity to explore different things that they might have, that they might be interested in outside of high school. So looking back, 4-H started over 100 years ago, 1902. Back then, they were just starting to do a new way of growing corn. And 4-Hers, I don't know about you, but sometimes adults can be kind of stuck in their ways. We kind of like to do things how we've always done things because we think that's the only way to do it sometimes, right? So a guy by the name of A.B. Graham realized that in order to change people's minds, it was easier to actually start with the kids. So when he started working with some young men to teach them different ways to grow their corn, and pretty soon their corn started outgrowing and being better than their parents' corn, than the farmers' corn, than the adults' corn that was out there. And not only did he teach them how to raise corn, but he taught them how to harvest and then sell the corn as well. And this was also very similar to what young ladies were doing, which was tomato clubs. Young ladies were being taught on how to grow tomatoes, can tomatoes, and sell those tomatoes. Kind of sounds like an early 4-H project, right? That's absolutely how 4-H got started. So we like to say that 4-H, we are very agriculturally rooted. Our roots are still there. We still have the corn project. It has changed over the years. We still have some of our traditional projects like our livestock, like our food, but we also have a lot of different things that has changed over the years. Things like robotics has become a project. Photography the way we've done photography has changed over the years. We have different animal projects that weren't available 10, 15, 20 years ago even. So 4-H, the look of 4-H has changed based on the needs of the community. So from corn clubs to victory gardens during the war to now robotics, now kids learning about robotics in 4-H. There has been a constant change in the way 4-H has adapted to meet the needs of the youth today. So now we are going to take just a minute or so. Our 4-Hers that are here in person, those of you that are joining virtually, just give us 1 second to get broken out here. Those of you 4-Hers that are here, if you would like, our junior leaders have some really awesome activities and some examples of projects that you can go participate in. So junior leaders, wave in the back. Our junior leaders are our 7th through 12th graders that meet once a month, and they've decided to take on more of a leadership role within the 4-H program. We would like to dismiss you guys now to head on back to talk with them about their 4-H careers, as well as do a fun activity with them. So you guys can go ahead right now if you'd like. And those of you online, if you have any questions right now, just while they're transitioning here, I can go ahead and answer those. But we will be covering a lot more topics once we get separated here in person. All right, so the first thing I would like to go over with parents and those of you all joining virtually as well is some 4-H terminology. So these are terms that you're going to hear pretty frequently over the next coming months. First is 4-H Online. So this is our enrollment database. So this is where parents, you will sign your kids up, or kids, if you're a little older and able to get on the computer, you can sign yourself up. This is where we house all of our enrollment information. 1 second. And some tech issues. So 4-H Online is where you enroll and you say, I want to take these projects, I want to be in these clubs. It's where we get your contact information so we can make sure you're getting the most up-to-date information from our 4-H program. This is something that has to be done every year. So every year you annually re-enroll in 4-H. This is where you can, if you wish, to pay your $15 program fee. We also take cash or check in the office, but you can pay online with credit card. This is also where we have started to use 4-H Online for event registration. So things like 4-H camp, some of our SCART programs that we'll talk about a little later. That has been what we have started to use to be able to collect that information as well. You will hear us say the word handbook. And when I say handbook, this is what I mean. This is our, those of you joining virtually too, I'll let you see. So this is our handbook. It is the rule book that has all of our projects listed with information on what you can expect to exhibit in each project. New this year is that the project book is broken out into 2 sections. Tonight, we have our non-livestock project book ready to go. So if every project that does not involve a livestock or an animal, this book will have the information in it for you. So photography, foods, cake decorating, child development, any of those types of projects, this is going to have that for you. Our livestock book will be available by early April. And the difference there is we had a time delay in getting some project updates. So we wanted to make sure we could update the projects fully before releasing the handbook to the best of our ability. So there was a delay, and we are trying something new this year and having the 2 different books as well. This is also available online, and it is also broken out online into individual projects. So if you're in the photography project and you only want to see the photography projects, you can also go online and find that information there. Fair entry is another word that you're going to hear in the coming months. And fair entry is like step 2 to 4-H Online. So 4-H online is where you say, I want to take photography and I want to be in this club. Fair entry then is when you say, I want to take photography level 2 and exhibit a black and white salon print or whatever division it is. That's what you're going to actually exhibit at the fair. And it's going to give you a tag like this. For those of you virtual, those of you in person, this is our fair entry tags. And that is used at the fair to help us check your project in. And that's also used for fair time. We put our awards up on fair entry. We use it to put ribbon placings and comments from the judges as well. And then you'll hear the term project. So project is what is exhibited, could be exhibited at the fair. You'll see some samples up here. Those of you that are joining virtually, I have some sample projects that I can show you. Got a pillow, nice arts and crafts, and some posters. And a project is it's a subject-specific activity that's completed through 4-H with the option to exhibit at fair. Typically, when we say project, we mean something that is specifically related to a topic and has specific guidelines of what you would exhibit at the fair. So for example, photography, I mentioned earlier, it is a project focused on photography, teaches your 4-Hers the basics of photography, how to take good pictures, you know, what makes a good picture, what makes a quality picture. And then there's different exhibits that you can display at the fair, whether it's a 10 print or a single print picture, is totally up to you. Okay, next, to give you guys I have a question coming in here. For 4-H Online 2.0, are we able to adjust add drop, which means add or drop projects like previous years after the initial setup? It wasn't working a couple months ago. That is a great question. So as of right now, we have had some hiccups in that. Honestly, the easiest thing is going to be if you want to add or drop a project, give our office a call. We're happy to take care of that for you. 4-H Online is a new version. It is the second version. So there we are still learning some things about it and learning best practices and how things are going to work on our end. So I appreciate that question because some things that we could have done in the old system aren't quite ready in this new system yet. So there are some things we're still adjusting and having to work with. But yes, if there's any issues and you cannot do it, give our office a call and we're happy to do that. So just to give you guys an overview of how 4-H is funded and how we kind of work, we are tied to Purdue University. 4-H in every state is connected to the land grant university. So for us, that's Purdue. If you would go over to Ohio, you would see it connected to Ohio State. If you go to North Carolina, you would see North Carolina State University house the 4-H program. And we are set up to where we receive funds from the state government, the national government, and the county government to have our program happen. And that goes through Purdue, and in return, we are able to provide research-based information, those hands-on activities to our youth and adults within the community. In Hendricks County, we are part of, again, Purdue Extension, and so we have different areas besides 4-H that we also provide to the Hendricks County community. One is Ag and Natural Resources and Community Development, and our other one is Health and Human Sciences. So all of those different subject areas make up Purdue Extension. For the 4-H side of things, I report to an extension board that at the local level has various people from all over the community. And I also have an advisory board that has people from all over the community. The difference is the extension board helps kind of guide programming for all extension areas, whereas my advisory board is going to look more at the specific Hendricks County 4-H program. And I have two groups that really help oversee how our program works. And one of those is our 4-H Youth Council. That's the governing body of 4-H at the local level. So they are the policy and procedure setters. They are the ones making sure our handbook is ready to go every year. They are the ones making sure that we are not only following state guidelines, but Purdue guidelines and national guidelines, and that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing as a 4-H program. And then we have our wonderful fair board that helps upkeep our facilities here. And so they also oversee the fair aspect of 4-H. So when you come to the fair, you're going to see our 4-H program highlighted, and you're going to see all of the kids' projects and animals. And you're also going to see a lot of other things, typically like a carnival and vendors. And a lot of work goes into that, and that is from our fair board. Additionally, I get to oversee volunteers that make up clubs. I get to see volunteers and 4-Hers that make up clubs and things like programs and projects and workshops as well. So the next thing I want to do for all of you is to go over the top 10 questions that we get asked in our office. So I'm a 4-H parent, now what? Number 10 is, where can I find answers to my questions? And there's a lot of different options for you. If it is a project specific question, we're going to refer you back to the handbook. So this is our end all be all. This is what if it is a project specific of what do I need to exhibit at the fair, that's where this is going to come in. This is going to tell you what to expect, what we expect from you when it comes to exhibits at the fair, when it comes to how things work, different rules. Those handbooks are going to be really, really important. Our monthly newsletter is a fabulous resource for our families. Each month we try and share what's coming up as much as possible into the future. So typically it covers a month, but there are times where we try and cover a month or 2 months to give you guys enough a heads up of what's happening. But that newsletter is available. We email it out via PDF. It is also available on our website. And if you really need a hard copy, we are happy to stick that in the mail to you. Just call us and let us know. Project manuals are another great resource. So each project has a manual or a record sheet that goes with it. A record sheet is going to be like a 1 or 2 page piece of paper that kind of overviews what have you learned, whereas a manual like this is going to have activities that are based on that project, and it's going to have additional information in it. So for example, in our foods project, it might talk to you and have you do different activities, but it's also going to teach you things like My Plate and how to read a recipe card, depending on your age level and grade level. But those are great resources. Adult volunteers, whether it's your club leader or project leader or a council member, the extension office, we are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we have a wonderful staff that is willing to help answer any questions that they can about 4-H. Your new family guide that if you have not picked up tonight is available. Those of you that are joining virtually, it is also available on our website as well. And our website is a great resource. Now, I will tell you, sometimes our website can be a little confusing. Part of that is out of our hands because we get to control just kind of a teensy part of it. So if you ever are looking and like, man, I knew something was on the website and you can't find it, give our office a call and we'll make sure you get those resources. And then finally, 4-H Online. I mentioned 4-H Online 2.0 is what we are currently using. So if you're brand new and don't even recall the last system, that's totally fine. There are some things we're still trying to figure out because it's a new system and there's still things that are not fully functioning. So we're working around that. But if at any time we use that a lot for event information, we will send out emails. So it's really important that your email is up to date on that as well. But 4-H Online is another great resources. Question on how can we get all of the newsletters and updates sent to more than one email address? That is a great question. We get asked that actually a lot too. Part of it depends on how the report is pulled. Part of it is the ability of 4-H Online right now. We are hopeful that that's going to be easier in the future. And part of it is that if we send it a certain way, it only gets sent to family emails. And the other thing is to make sure if you want things to go to individual members' emails, make sure their email is listed as well. Because we have had some issues of emails not being fully completed or anything like that. But that is a really great question. So our number 9 question is, what is a club and how do I know which one to choose? So clubs are groups of youth and adults who meet on a regular basis and practice positive youth development. In Hendricks County, we have 2 types of clubs. We have a community club and a project-specific club. So our project-specific clubs include things like sheep club, shooting sports, horse and pony. When you go to those meetings, you're going to find the topic areas are all focused on those specific topics. So a sheep club might have a feed specialist come in and talk about proper feeding techniques for your sheep. Whereas our gifted 4-Hers that met this evening here at the fairgrounds, they might talk about foods on one project or one program, and they might talk about photography on the next meeting, or communications at the next meeting. So there's going to be a little more variety there. So things to consider when you're selecting a club is where the club is meeting and when they're meeting, because we want you to be comfortable with where they're meeting and whatever works in your schedule. I will let you know that some of our clubs are still choosing to meet just virtual. Some clubs have gone to a hybrid format, like our new family orientation is this evening. Some of our clubs are larger than others, so picking a size of club that you're comfortable with. And talk to your friends. If you have 4-Hers that have friends in a certain club, maybe you want to start out at that club. You can be in as many clubs as you would like. We encourage 4-Hers that are in projects related to clubs with specific project clubs. So if you're in sheep club, or if you're in sheep or shooting sports or horse and pony, it will be very helpful to be involved in those clubs because those meetings are going to focus on those projects specifically. But you don't have to be. You can always switch clubs too. So it's not like once you sign up on 4-H online, like that's who you always have to be with. It is not mandatory to attend any club meetings. Some clubs do offer incentives for kids to attend meetings. If they attend a certain amount of meeting, they might get something at the end of the year just to celebrate, but it is not mandatory, except for shooting sports. There is a requirement that shooting sports kids attend a safety meeting before they participate in a live firearm workshop. So that is the only meeting that we can mandate that it's shooting sports, and I should say ATV is included in that as well, because those are higher risk activities. I see some questions coming in the chat box. I will get to those in just a minute. What should I expect at club meetings? So at your club meetings, you should expect for the adults that are there helping lead the program to be screen volunteers. So they've gone through an application process, they've gone through a background check, they've gone through some safety training. You should also expect them to be helpful and maybe not necessarily have all the answers, but be able to help connect you to the people that do have the answers. Your club meetings should be ran by youth because we are a youth serving organization. So if you come to a junior leader meeting, you're going to see our officers sitting up at tables like these that are up here, and they're going to be the ones leading the meeting. They're going to be the ones reading off the agenda. They're going to be the ones doing minutes, taking notes, all that sort of stuff, because we want the youth to be involved. You should also expect your club leader to make sure some educational experience is included. A lot of our clubs include some sort of education, whether it's a guest speaker or a special outing or some sort of activity. And a lot of clubs try and include a community service too. Maybe not necessarily in the same meeting, but maybe they do every other month a community service as a club. And there should always be some sort of socialization aspect, because we know that club meetings for kids are important, again, whether it's virtual or in person, that they're getting to know each other and know their club leaders and club officers as well. What you should not expect is a free babysitting service. You should not expect the club leader to have all of the answers, nor should you expect them to have all of the supplies that you would ever need to do a 4-H program or a project. That is what the extension office is for. We have lots of supplies for you, but your 4-H club leaders will not necessarily have all of those goodies. And remember, they are volunteers and they are humans too. So you should not expect them to be perfect. How does my child pick a project? So we talked about the handbook. That is one way. Certainly you can go through and read this entire handbook if you would like. wouldn't do that. But you can read this entire handbook, flip through if you'd like, but we also have a cheat sheet. So we have a project cheat sheet. We will share when this information is sent out, the link to our online version. And I don't remember if we have copies back there tonight or not. But look through the handbook, look through our project cheat sheet, look through we're happy to look through different manuals, let you come in and check out the different manuals that we have to see what projects you might be interested in. It might be good to start out with 2 projects compared to 20 projects. But find out what you're interested in. The first thing we ask kids is, what do you like to do? What do you like to do when you're not in school? What do you like to do when you're not working? And that helps us help you figure out what projects you're doing. Tonight, the kids that are over there, they're actually playing a game. It's like a would you rather game with our junior leaders to help them figure out maybe some projects that they might be interested in. Check out project workshops, talk to your leaders, talk to your friends that are in 4-H or different projects, talk to older 4-Hers that are taking different projects than you, and ask them what they like, what they don't like. Ultimately, it comes down to what do you want to learn about? And once you decide, make sure you enroll by May 15th. May 15th is pretty much our deadline for a lot of different things. It's when animal information is due on 4-H online. That is when we call what we call our drop and add deadline. That's really to help us so we can prepare before the chaos of summer. But it's really important that May 15th, we have our information in 4-H online so we can best help you as we get closer to the summer. If you are in mini 4-H, I did forget to ask, if you are in mini 4-H, you can explore different projects. We do have different books available. And we encourage our mini 4-Hers to take up to 2 projects. Mini 4-Hers for 1st and 2nd grade. So we encourage you guys to take up to 2 projects. Just because if we get a lot more, sometimes it's harder to do at fair. But they also have opportunities to explore projects at their monthly meetings as well. So number 6 is how do we learn what to do in the projects, or if I have project specific questions. Again, this handbook is going to be very, very helpful. We are working on setting up project workshops, both in person and virtual. We are also working on putting a list together of virtual project workshops that have been conducted by other counties. Because if another county has done a really awesome cake decorating workshop, we are more than happy to share that so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Talking with project leaders and project workshop leaders, your club leaders, those are all great resources to learn what specifics you need to do in the project. For mini 4-H, we do also have a mini 4-H handbook that talks about the basics, and all of our mini 4-H books also talk about what activities they need to do in order to exhibit at the fair. See some examples there. Those mini 4-H is also available online. All of our mini 4-H books are available online. Books and resources for regular 4-H is available in our extension office. So what else is there to do in 4-H besides attend meetings and just do the fair? We have a lot. Typically, in a non-COVID year, we offer trips all over the state and all over the nation. Things like 4-H Camp Roundup, an academy, which are for our high school students, State Junior Leader Conference. We've sent kids to Perryville, Arkansas at the Global Gateway Experience at Heifer International. We have sent kids to Washington, D.C. with Washington Citizenship Focus. And we have sent kids to Purdue for a variety of programs, including 4-H band and chorus. However, because it is 2021, things are going to look a little bit different. We are still currently planning on having a 4-H camp. So 3rd through 6th graders, if you have a 3rd through 6th grader, we're going to talk about that when all the kids are grouped here. We are still planning on a 4-H camp. However, our camps that we are typically participate in at Purdue for our 7th through 12th grader, or 7th through 9th graders, which is Roundup, and 9th through 12th graders, which is Academy, those are not happening like they normally do this year. Instead, we're doing what we call a 4-H roadshow. So there, we are working on creating local programming throughout the state that will take bits and pieces of those programs that they would have done at Purdue and bring it to a more local level. We are also, for our minis, we are currently planning our mini 4-H day camp, which happens in June as well. And we're hoping that will be an in-person and hybrid option too. The neat thing is that our 4-H Youth Council has set aside funds to help kids attend trips, whether it's virtual or in person, throughout the state and nation. So there have been some really awesome 4-H programs that have come out of other states that if kids wanted to pay a small fee, they could participate in virtually. Our council has funds to help cover that. So if you are interested and you find a really cool 4-H virtual program and you want to participate in it and there's a fee, talk to us and we're going to connect you with the council. We also have scholarships available. So our scholarships, typically we have our state scholarships that go through the Indiana 4-H Foundation. Those are due in January. Any 4-H'er that is old enough to qualify to apply for those, we typically send out information in December. Excuse me. We also have a lot of local scholarships that their deadline, I believe, is coming up. I think it's March 15th, maybe. Those are all available on our website. Again, if you check out our website, those are all available for some of our upperclassmen in 4-H. Not only do we have lots of scholarships, but 4-H looks really good on scholarships too. So other scholarships look for kids that have participated in 4-H because they know the dedication it takes to get projects done. Other opportunities, we have things like Spark programs, which are small, shorter, 6-hour minimum educational opportunities. We're going to talk about a couple of those we have coming up here in a bit. Things like performing arts. Well, we have a performing arts contest coming up. But it's going to be virtual this year, but it's for a couple of different counties within Indiana. We do things like junior leaders. So the kids that you saw tonight leading the pledges and that are working with our 4-H'ers tonight, those are 7th through 12th graders that have decided to take on more of a leadership role. We have STEM programming that we have continually increased. We have another STEM programming coming up in May. And we have a civic engagement program. We typically do a day of giving in April. We're trying to figure out what that's going to look like this year, and it might be a do-it-yourself at home civic engagement program, but we will see what that looks like. I mentioned earlier that all of our club leaders are screened volunteers. If you are interested in becoming a volunteer, we are always looking for adult volunteers. There is an application process. So there's a paper application. We do a background check. Adults have to sign adult behavioral expectations every year. And then all of our adults have to go through a safety training. Excuse me. Additionally, our volunteers, when they are new, they meet with me as an educator, and my job is to place them into a volunteer role. So we want to make sure we're getting qualified volunteers to be working with these kids so that we can have a safe and fun environment for our kids to learn and grow. Some opportunities for you to volunteer include becoming a club leader or an assistant leader. We always need help at club meetings, especially as our program continues to grow. Maybe there's a project that you're like, man, it would just be really cool to help teach kids about and learn more about and do, and I want to do a workshop. We're always looking for new ways to engage kids in projects. Maybe you're like, hey, I have a really cool idea. It doesn't really quite fit into a project, but I have 6 hours of education that I could totally help kids learn about. Maybe it's, I don't know, scuba diving. Maybe you want to run a Spark program instead. That would be awesome. We're always looking for ways to get new kids excited about 4-H. And some of those Spark programs have been awesome in getting some new kids that have not heard about 4-H or that think 4-H is only our traditional stuff. It's been a great way to get them excited about joining our program. Chaperones, being on a board or committee, and fair volunteers are so important. It takes hundreds of volunteers to put on our fair each year. And even just coming in and watching projects, monitoring projects for an hour or two that week is super helpful. So volunteering at the fair is a great way to get involved. So another question that has been big this year is, what is fair and programming going to look like? So fair, we're hoping, we know it's not going to quite be a 2019 fair. But we also are really hopeful that it's not going to be a 2020 fair. So we're looking for somewhere in the middle. We're going to have a safety plan. All of our clubs, all of our events, all of our programs that we're currently doing, if they have an in-person component, they have to have an approved safety plan from Purdue University. So one of those expectations of what can you expect at clubs, if your club is meeting in person, you can expect that they have an approved safety plan that meets all of the guidelines from the local and state and Purdue level to help keep our 4-Hers safe. You can probably expect face coverings this year at fair. There could be possible limits on the amount of people in one area at one time, depending on what color COVID metric we are currently in at that time. Probably some social distancing. I know we've talked about utilizing our facilities here, having projects in this expo hall as well as the auditorium to help spread out and keep people from clumping together if possible, as well as just spreading out our projects to help with that space. Hand sanitizers everywhere, which the good thing is we already have them from last year. We just need to refill. Our fair schedule might have to be updated, depending again on where we're at when it comes closer to fair time. There might need to be some slight adjustments. Livestock might not be here all week, but we're also hoping that it's not a one day they come in, they show and they leave like it was last year. We're hoping for a little bit longer time here on the fairgrounds for those livestock and 4-Hers. We're also going to have our judging spread out. So instead of cramming everybody into one building on one day, we might spread it out to a couple days instead. The next question is, how much does 4-H really cost? I need to pause for just a second. Junior leaders, you've got a 5-minute warning. 5-minute warning over there. Okay. So how much does 4-H really cost? It's $15 program fee. Unless you're a mini 4-Her, mini 4-H is free. So our first and second graders are free. Or if you enrolled in October through December of this year, we had a wonderful donor who provided program fees for all of our 4-Hers that enrolled during that time. They paid for more than $10,000 worth of program fees, so we are very grateful for that donor. But when it comes to, besides that, our manuals, the project books that we talked about earlier, those range from $1 to $10. Our handbooks are free for first year members because we want to make sure you are totally equipped for whatever you need. Poster boards, so if you want to do a poster for a project, we do sell these foam core boards at the fairgrounds, so these foam boards, as well as the sleeves that go over them, and they range from $1 to $2. We also have mini 4-H size poster board, and we use the same sleeve, we just have to fold it over, so mini 4-H size, which is our poster board cut in half. Another place where you might run into some additional fees is going to be things like shooting sports. If you participate in shooting sports, that has additional fees because they cover the cost, that helps cover the cost of the ammo for the live fires. And then it also depends on your project. So getting a pig or showing an animal is going to be a lot more expensive than just doing a poster. Now, I have seen some very fancy posters. However, if you, more than likely, you're going to spend more money on an animal than you would a poster project. Trips would be another one. A lot of our trips do have some sort of fee affiliated with them. I mentioned that the council is offering support for a lot of that. They firmly believe in giving kids the opportunity to attend trips and programs and keeping their costs low. So because of that, scholarships are available for anything that might be a barrier for you. So our books, we mentioned, they range from $1 to $10, sometimes a little bit more. Our 4-H Youth Council has set aside funds to help cover some of those manuals for our kids. So right now, 4-Hers can get up to 2 project manuals for free from the 4-H Youth Council. And it doesn't matter what the price is either. You could get our most expensive book and our cheapest book, and they would still pay for the whatever 2 books you would like to pick from. And it's not just the lowest 2, you know, like you get 2 for free, but not really. Yeah, this is 2 free books, and you get to pick and tell us which 2 books. So we're really excited about that. So the last thing, and this is our major deadline. So junior leaders, this is last call, and they'll be grouping back together. So our enrollment process starts October 1. January 15th is our encouraged enrollment date, because the sooner you get enrolled in 4-H, the sooner you get involved, the sooner you can get information from us. That doesn't mean that people can't enroll after January 15th. So there's still time. If you want to enroll now, you can still visit 4-H online and get enrolled. May 15th, if you leave here knowing nothing else, May 15th is a huge date. That is when livestock information is due on 4-H online if you plan on exhibiting a livestock animal. It is also our drop ad deadline, and a lot of other times we have trip information that's due around that time too. Right now we're kind of waiting to see how some things play out, but May 15th is a big deadline in 4-H land. June 1st is when our fair entry opens, so I mentioned that a little bit ago about what fair entry was. And then you've got some July dates up there that are great to put in your calendar. The week before fair is our pre-fair week. We are still working through some logistics of what judging is going to be. I am not saying that every single day that week is going to be a judging or a project of some sort. But just that week is going to be pre-fair week. And then our fair week is the 18th through the 24th of July with our achievement banquet, which celebrates our seniors, our 10-year members, our volunteers, and our grand and reserve grand champions for projects and a bunch of other awards. That will be July 25th. So everybody will be invited to that to help us kind of celebrate and end our 4-H year on July 25th. So now it is time to regroup. We've just got a couple more slides here. Junior leaders, you can bring the kids back over here. Those of you joining virtually, I see a couple questions coming in. Junior leaders. There we go. Got a couple questions coming in. Awesome. I will get to those for sure. And I'm just checking, those of you that are online, you can see my PowerPoint, correct? I'm really hoping so. Okay, thank you. Whew. Had a panic moment there for a second. All right, we've got our 4-Hers coming back, perfect. So what's next is the big question. You're gonna pick up your project books. They're available at the extension office. If you're a mini 4-Her, they are available here tonight. Mini 4-Hers, they are also available anytime online as well. Continue to go to club meetings. If you have not been contacted by a club leader, if you are here tonight, come see me after the meeting. If you're virtual, type it in the chat box or connect with me. I'll have my contact information at the end of this slideshow. We wanna make sure you get connected with a club so that you are ready to go in the coming months. Work on your projects. It's never too early to start. In fact, it's encouraged that you start early. Livestock members, make sure you bring animals in to tag in if they need to come in to tag in. So if you are a sheep or goat or beef, dairy beef, or dairy cow member, you should have gotten an email about some tag-in dates in May. And then get involved, read your newsletter, make sure you know what's coming up so that you can be as involved in 4-H as you want to be. Flower sales, all of our 4-Hers should have received flower sale information in the mail. Mini 4-Hers, if you receive this, you are more than welcome to participate, but it is not required that you do. Regular 4-Hers, it's not required for you either, but it is strongly encouraged because this is our largest county fundraiser. 10% of what you sell goes back to your 4-H club. And for every $100 you sell, you actually get $5 in cafe bucks that you can spend at the 4-H cafe this summer. The money raised at with this fundraiser goes to our 4-H Youth Council to help for programs, scholarships, sending kids on trips, awards that you're going to see at the celebrating our 10-year members. It really helps our 4-H program run effectively. Orders are due March 17th for your club leader, and then pickup dates are going to be April 30th or May 1st. We are doing a drive-through style like we did last year at the horse farm. Super excited about that. And we will have some open sales available that Saturday on May 1st as well. So during the upcoming months, we want you to work on your project. A lot of times, summer months is finishing up your project, attending workshops, trips, whatever available. Enjoy your time in 4-H, whether that be virtual, hybrid, or in person. Make sure you're following deadlines to submit information. And then when it comes to fair time, you're going to bring your projects in and turn those in. This year at Fair, we are working to make sure we can have an open judging, which means that the kids will actually get to talk with the judges compared to what we had to do last year, which was closed judging. So they didn't actually get to talk. They had to drop projects off and just get feedback from the judges at a later date. We are working to set up virtual options for those that are not comfortable coming in person, as well as the in-person option for kids that want to talk to the judge that way. So we are working through just a variety of options to help our kids get that feedback, because we think it is important that they know how they can improve for the previous or for the next year. Show off your hard work when it comes to fair time. You guys have worked hard. We're excited to see what you have learned and how you have grown over the past month. Tell your friends how awesome 4-H is, and then attend the Indiana State Fair. And whatever that's going to look like this year, we want you to celebrate your hard work. Okay. And then just quickly, some upcoming really awesome opportunities we're excited to share with our 4-Hers. So right now, 3rd through 6th graders, we are planning on having an in-person 4-H camp, which is 3 days and 2 nights at Shakamak State Park. You'll be able to attend activities like swimming and hiking and outdoor activities, stay in some really cool cabins. June 16th through the 18th, we do realize, we do know that there's going to be some added safety precautions. And I'm saying this all as of right now, because we're still working on finalizing what this is exactly going to look like. But right now, one of the things is we can only take about 50% of our campers that to fill the camp. So we camp with other counties. We take camp with Boone, Tipton, and Montgomery County. So we have to be at 50% capacity instead of our typically 100% capacity. So there are some guidelines that we're working through still. Registration for this will hopefully start in April. However, if you're a 9th through 12th grader, we are taking camp counselor applications currently. Those are due March 26th. So 9th through 12th graders can apply to attend 4-H camp, go to 4 different trainings that we have in May and June, and get to help and plan 4-H camp. We're really excited about that. You can see some lovely pictures on the screen of our camp counselors, as well as our campers in a very pre-COVID year. Those of you that are participating in livestock projects, with the exceptions of horse and pony, cats, dogs, and little critters, you will need to mark on your calendars dates for our Youth for Quality Care of Animals, which we call YQCA. And this is a training that is mandated by the state for 4-H, that if a member is choosing to exhibit an animal, they have to take this training. There are 2 ways to take it: in person for $3 or online for $12. More information will be sent out about this. We will have in-person options here at the fairgrounds, but you don't have to attend a Hendricks County one to be able to qualify. If there's a date that works in Boone County and you live up close to Boone County and you want to go to that, that's perfectly fine. It all gets reported kind of in the same system. So livestock members will be getting a lot more information about this soon. Some spring break Spark activities we have. So I mentioned those Spark activities were those short-term programs. One is our Chef University. This is March 30th, 31st, and April 1st, 9 a.m. to noon. It is for 3rd through 5th graders. And kids are going to work through a whole curriculum on how to create different foods and some foods from different cultures. We're going to tie in some STEM when we're talking about measuring and safety protocols in the kitchen. It is $35, and this is limited to 10 participants. It is the first time we are doing this, and so we're keeping it really small for safety numbers and because it's new, so we want to make sure we kind of understand how it works before opening it up to a huge group as well. You can see the website there, and I will be sharing this PowerPoint afterwards. It'll be available on our website, and this is being recorded too. Robotics 101 is another one, another spring break program. That's going to be March 30th and 31st from 1 to 4 p.m. And that's going to be 3rd through 7th graders who would be first-time robotics users. So if you are a first-time robotics user or a very new to robotics user, we are going to be going through our EV3 Lego Mindstorm kits, and the cost for this is going to be $20. Registration will be available soon. If you are a teenager, we are partnering with Marion County and the surrounding counties to be doing a program called Change Makers. which is going to be 8 sessions starting in April. And this is a program that's designed to help youth learn how they can make changes within their community. Again, our website is listed there, and you can sign up online as well. And then finally, another upcoming event, maybe if you, I know we've got some wonderfully talented youth in the room tonight or virtually. If you want to participate in our Central Indiana's Got Talent, we are again partnering with Marion County and what we call the surrounding counties or Area 6. So Marion, Hendricks, Boone, Hamilton, Hancock, Shelby, Johnson, and Morgan County all make up what we call Area 6 within Extension. And we are putting together a Central Indiana's Got Talent open to 3rd through 12th graders. Videos are due the 30th of April. Winners would receive prizes and a chance to perform at the Indiana State Fair. Again, you can find more information out on our website. So the last thing I want to share with you is that tonight, if you have not already received it, our new family handbook is ready to be picked up. It has a lot of information that we talked about tonight, as well as goes into some more detail on certain things. But please pick that up. If you are virtual, it is available virtually, or if you'd like a hard copy, let me know and we'll get one in the mail if you have not already gotten that. My contact information is now listed on the screen. So feel free to call or email. If you stop in the office or call the office, we have a wonderful staff that is willing to help answer questions. We are also on social media. We post a lot of things on social media. I am going to do a shameless plug right now. If you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, we are in the midst of our Clover craziness, which is our version of March Madness, to figure out what our top project of 2021 is going to be. So get on there, vote. We have voting happening daily. It's just a fun activity we're doing on social media. Fashion Review has been our 2-time champion. So we're going to see if they're going to take home the crown for a 3rd year or if it's going to be a new project. But we also share a lot of information on our social media pages. So at this time, I'm going to take some questions. I do see some questions online, so I'm going to start there and then I will go to in person. Okay. Okay, if we don't hear from the club by a certain date, when should we contact the office? We have heard from Shooting Sports, but not Dog yet. So I mentioned that all of our clubs have to have a safety plan if they're planning on doing something in person. Some of those clubs are in the process and others have chosen to be virtual. If you have not heard from a club, I would say let our office know ASAP, whether it is a project specific or a general club, because we will want to, one, make sure, your email information is correct on 4-H Online, and 2, that the club leader is getting the correct information pulled from 4-H Online. So give us a call as soon as possible. I know Shooting Sports is definitely starting to meet soon. Dogs just got their safety plan approved as well. So hopefully in the next day or so, you should be hearing from them as well. Oops. Okay. Next question was, where do you find the information of what the clubs are and when they meet? Check the website, but couldn't find it. So that is a great example of how our website is a little overwhelming and sometimes a bit confusing. It's probably hidden under new family resources, but I can follow up. I'll be following up with an email with all of this, like the recording and everything too tonight. I can make sure I link to that site as well. We try and update that as much as possible because dates are constantly changing and we're constantly getting new information as to what clubs are meeting in person versus what clubs are meeting virtually. So it is on the website. It's just probably one of those that's harder to find options. Are there specific projects for our mini 4-H kids? Yes, we do have specific mini 4-H projects. You can find those again online or in our office. So they each have their own little book that goes along with it, a mini 4-H, and then their mini 4-H handbook also has the information of each project on the back too. So mini 4-H has their own handbook. And Mini 4-H has started having meetings. We are having hybrid meetings for our Mini 4-Hers, which again, 1st and 2nd grade. Our next meeting is the 16th. So another email will be going out this week with that reminder. But we have started meeting those. So if you have not gotten information about that, give our office a call and we'll want to make sure that you have, we've gotten all of your information correct on 4-H Online. Can I register my youngest daughter in Mini 4-H or was there a deadline for that this year? Nope. So anybody can register still, Mini 4-H or regular 4-H. So if you guys go home tonight, either in person or virtual, and you're like, hey, I need to call my cousin or best friend, there is still plenty of time to enroll. So you can still enroll. How do you get a copy of the handbook? So those of you that are here in person can pick one up. Those of you that are virtual, it is available currently online. Again, this year we currently just have our non-livestock. Our livestock one should be ready in early April. You can also stop into the extension office and grab one as well. And if you are not comfortable coming into the extension office, we do have the option to mail it to you if you would like. What is the completion date of a project kids have signed up for? So kids will submit their projects at fair in July. They will work with their club leaders ahead of time to make sure all the paperwork is taken care of and that they are ready to go for submitting the project on that date. We don't have all of the final dates of like when projects are going to be turned in. We have a rough draft going. But some things have had to get moved around because of other fair related things. So July is when everything is due. Once we pick projects, how do we enroll for the project and find an associated club? So on 4-H Online, you should have selected a club when you enrolled. If you need to change that club, let us know, because there has been some issues of having people try and go back on to try and sign up for different projects or change clubs. So let us know if you cannot go back on and do that, just because we've had some issues with that. So call our office and we'll help get that taken care of. Can I register for Chef University in office or just online? It is done through 4-H Online. And so if you can come into the office, but we would have to sit you down and you would have to go through the sign up process on 4-H Online as well. And for that one, you will have to pay cash or check. So those of you that are thinking about doing the Chef U, right now it is only cash or check option. We do not have the credit card option available. Okay, I think I got everything on virtual. Were there any in-person questions? I'm 4 minutes over, I know, so. Okay, if not, thank you guys so much for coming. I will put my contact information back up on the screen. And so I really appreciate you guys joining either in person or virtually tonight. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great night. And if there's any questions I can answer, I'm happy to do so. Thank you. Maybe show us also.